D'Amico Ryans needs some help. Nick Bosa just threw him under the bus, backed the bus over him, and then went forward, back repeatedly yesterday when he said, yeah, we have the adjustments. We just didn't get them called, and I don't know why. But I expect we will in the future. It's basically saying the rookie defensive coordinator didn't adjust on time. So there are adjustments. What are these adjustments to chips? How do you fix this?
Well, there's a couple things, and the first thing that I saw, I think, was actually done. On the play where Bosa gets chipped and he gets blindsided, and the first thing that can be done is you can alert defensive end that's coming, and you could see it on film that he's being alerted by Al Shayer. He's alerting him. I don't know if Bosa didn't hear it or he figured it looked like there was a stun, or he didn't think it mattered because he was going inside, but it did. So that's the first thing you can do is your linebackers and defensive backs, if there's not a guy outside of the defensive end he's motioning and he's not there to begin with, and he comes in, have the linebacker, the safety alert, or the DB alert the defensive end so he's ready.
Okay, that's one.
That's the first thing.
Okay.
And the second thing is preparing them beforehand, because if you're talking about a guy, if he's chipping with outside, if he's chipping with outside leverage, remember this is a wide 9, so the Niners defensive ends aren't used to a guy outside of them because the team is right. So it's a different type of thing for a defensive lineman, because you're playing with an inside technique where you're talking about we call it sight key, pressure key. So your sight key is inside, but your pressure key is outside. So your first thing is protect yourself, opening yourself up outside to protect yourself from that block. So I would say the first thing I would do is in practice is go over that when you know there's a guy coming out from outside of you, be able to protect yourself, take him on, and then beat the man and then go inside. That's another thing. And the other thing, they were talking about games and stunts. I like overloading a side, right? Because if they're chipping and you overload a side, then that tight end or back has to let a blitzer or an extra man go free at the expense of chipping the defensive end.
Got it.
So you can run games to overload, but you can add guys on. You can run zone fires to add overloading aside. That's another thing that can be done.
Trey Niner says, I watched the game again, and I only saw 4 or 5 chips the entire game. Bosa just wasn't beating the tackle in that game. Chips aren't the issue.
Yeah, it's not just it's not like, oh, you're right. It's not. They didn't not get a pass rush that game because they're getting chipped. It's some of it is they just have to win. And then there's just some things are some unfortunate calls, like when they needed pressure. Ryan's called a zone drop where they're dropping 8. So there's some of that too.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is, I think you tweeted it out, and I know a bunch of people have, but Rodgers got rid of the ball very quickly. That was part of their game plan.